Welcome to Extra Scale Modelling. For my next build I'm going to be building this Trumpeter's CH47D Chinook scale 172. Now Trumpeter kit, so it's a basic kit. Nevertheless the Trumpeter do very good kit. So I thought I'd just have a look in the box, see what's in here. The instructions are obviously Chinese and English, and if we have a look, there's the plan. So there's two main sprues, a little sprue here, some clear parts, a metal shaft for the props, two of them, and of course the canopy. So the instruction sheet says quite small because it's a small kit, there's not much to it as I said, and that's that. We have the painting options. Basically the same painting options for each variant. There's only two variants that I can make out, or it just might be the one. Yeah, it's just the one variant. So the sprues, here we go. There's these two with the engines on a separate sprue here, and then we have the main fuselage. So you can see the size of it. It's quite a nice size kit. So plain part, clear parts, a canopy, and of course the decal sheet. Now again, not a lot of decals in here, just your basic setup, which is fine. So I'm looking forward to doing this kit after my 124 Harrier. That was a bit of a slog. So I'll be painting it in the olive drab green as shown there. So there's no time like the present, let's jump into the build. We'll start off with painting the tips yellow, which is Rebel Aquacolor 15, and try and paint quite a bit down on, even though it's only the tips being showing. That way when the black goes on it'll be a more even finish. Next I'm just giving a rough coat of the joysticks and things, and then they're getting painted in 08 matte black from Rebel, and I'll be doing a lot with painting on the sprue again on this build. So for now it's just all the little black bits that I'm painting in for the cockpit, so the joysticks and instrument panels and so forth. The interior of the cockpit will be all one colour, and that will be Rebel Aquacolor 76 light grey. So this is what I'm painting in here. Starting off the cockpit area for the interior colour. If you're having the aircraft open, you'll have to do all this bottom plate, but if you're having it close up like I have, you don't have to paint it all, you really can't see it. However, I did put on some paint just in case. The wheel hubs are the same colour as the interior, so I'm just giving a quick coat of the interior colour on the base plate. As I said, I put on some paint because I wasn't sure how I was going to display at this point and whether you would be able to see all the paintwork. There's a little bit of detail in the cockpit which was a nice surprise, and there's a fire extinguisher, so I'm painting this in Rebel Aquacolor 31 Fido Red. And for all the panels I changed the colour to Tamiya's X10 Gunmetal. I just thought that would have a better finish. For the dials and buttons I used Rebel Aquacolor 05 White, and just very small amounts here, tiny little bit on a very thin brush. This is a 001 brush, just dipping it into the recesses of the control panel. Once it was dry, I went over it with Tamiya's Weathering Master Series C and used the silver component. There's just to go over all the display instrument panel to give it a bit of a shine. It was a simple assembly process to put the instrument panel together. So the front panel just in the recess of the mount. For the seats, the framework was Rebel Aquacolor 76 light grey, and for the padding it was Rebel Aquacolor 86 olive brown. Assembling the cockpit, I went straight forward. The location points were, uh, were nicely placed. They didn't need to be opened up any further. So it was just a simple case of a little bit of glue and putting the various parts in. I did snap one of the joysticks, but it was an easy fix. When the chairs go in, it sort of rests up against the joystick, so I was able just to put it in and rest up against it until it's set. And then it was the interior doors to be done. There's two parts to this, just placing them together, and again the location points onto the actual kit itself was really good. It was a really nice tight fit in the back of the seats. It didn't require much holding or waiting for it to bond. Once it was in, that was it. Next to go on was the floor panel. Now on the structures it's not really clear where these are meant to go, so it took me a little while to figure out how to put them in, but I got there in the end. They fit in really nicely once you realise how they go. So they just slide up to the bottom the sidewall, and once it was in, it was a quick coat of Revit Aquacolor 76 light grey. Again, if you're closing it up, not really necessary, but I just like to know it's done. I mean, if I was having it opened up, all the support beams and that I would have painted and highlighted, but there's no point if you're closing the model up. For the windows, they can only go in one way, and to help you with that, one end of the window has been squared off, so you know exactly how you're putting it in. I wish they were all like that on the other kits. The rotor mechanism is next, and this is getting painted in Tamiya's X10 gunmetal. There's certain parts where you have to glue on this, so bear that in mind when you're building it. So if you want the blades to turn, and there's only a couple of little areas where you need to cement, so just the locking cap to the shaft, like so, before it goes on to the top part of the mechanism. So I'm using a little bit of super glue here because it's a metal shaft, and once it goes in, just pop it in, and then it fits really nicely. To put it into the kit, there's a little cradle it sits in. However, the groove in between the mechanism and the shaft is very small, so make sure it's in the centre but before you move on. You may have to push it in quite hard. The central exhaust is getting painted in X10 gunmetal by Tamiya. Just a couple of little parts to put together before it pops into its housing. And before I put it in, I'm just painting it in Revit Aquacolor 361 olive green, because this little part will be visible. So I'm just tidying up the vent exhaust here. The reason why I painted the walls the external colour was because I did think about having the internal colour, but it just looked too stark, so I thought it was better just to put in the darker colour. Top panel of the cockpit going in now. Now the instructions asked to be painted in black, but I had a look and I thought, no, I'm going to paint it in the same colour as the interior. It was just my personal choice. Now all the cockpit is built up, it's time to put it into the main one-sided fuselage. It fits, it's tight, but it goes in well, and again, it doesn't need a lot of handling for the bond. Then once it's in, it's time to put on the fuselage together. Now when you put it, just be careful, because the one side sort of crept up a little bit and ended up with an uneven bond. I did sort it out, and it was an easy fix because it wasn't bonded yet, but I think I just pressed the parts too hard together. As I've said throughout the build, the actual location points and the fit is excellent on this model. Moving on to the main engine housing, and then it's two-part colours here. So the first colour I'm painting in Revit Aquacolor 361 olive green, and then the vents is Tamiya's X10 gunmetal. For the exhaust ports on the main housing, I'm painting these in Revel Aquacolor 91 steel. A little painting tip: make sure you paint down in the down motion instead of going straight across. This will make it more authentic looking, and it gives it more of a sheen once it's all cleaned up. Take this opportunity to paint in the other vents. So again, this is getting painted in Tamiya's X10 gunmetal. There's a few little vents you have to paint around the fuselage. Just make sure you get them all. The assembly of the engines was straightforward, just basically two tubes put together on the housing. Before I go any further, I'm just painting around the vents and windows. So that's Revel Aquacolor 361 olive green, which is the main colour, and I do that just so it's easier to handle before I carry on with the build. And once the paint's dried, it's time to put on the engines. They sit in a nice little recess. Just be careful, if you push in one end, the other end will pop out and leave a gap. They go in a very specific way, so make sure you've got both ends lined up. As I said, I'm having this one closed up, so I'm just assembling the door, so just putting in the clear part first. Now the door comes in two halves, a bottom solid part, and of course the part where I put in the window. And now again, excellent fitting. There was no overhang on the door. It fitted in the recess perfectly. So once the bottom part's in, it's time to put in the top part. Just be gentle, even though it does fit in perfectly. You want to be careful that you're not riding it up or onto the bottom part. Now I'm placing on all the aero foils and fins before painting. There's not many of these. I done the top ones first. I done the bottom ones near the end of the build so that I can have the model still flat while I'm working on it. One side of the kit has railings, and they come in two various ways. There's one big long one that I'm putting in now, again lined up perfectly, and there's a series of little stick out ones. I don't know what they're for, but there's about 9-10 little pylons that stick out from the fuselage, and each one has its own recess, so there's no drilling involved or that. They just fit in easy enough. Next up is masking the canopy. Now I'm using Tamiya's 5mm curved masking tape for this. Obviously there's a lot of curves on this canopy, and so every masking I do, I put in a new blade into my hobby knife before I start cutting the tape. So I just put the tape in, run it around with the cocktail stick in the recesses, then I take the blade and cut around for a smooth finish. And then once it's masked, I just pop it on. Again, really good fit. The last time I done a Chinook, the canopy was really badly fitted, but this one, again, excellent. Going to the underside now, there's a little bit of gap, so I'm using Fuselage plastic putty to fill them in. Just putting a little bit on and spraying it with a cocktail stick, then wiping off any excess with a bit of cloth. I mean, in all honesty, there wasn't many gaps at all, but I just ran it down just in case. When it was dry, it was time to put on all the underside parts, so aerofoils and things like that. There's quite a few of these to do on the underside. The largest one was this hatch that I'm putting in the centre here, but again it fitted nicely. There is an aerofoil goes at the side here. The instructions looks like it's meant to fit inside, but I couldn't get it to fit inside. So what I did was I just placed it right on the edge of the unit itself. I don't think it made any difference. And that's the last of them going on. So it's just a matter of leaving it sighted all dry now. Moving on to the tyres, and I'm painting this with UA733 black rubber Shays tyre black from Life Colour. Then I move back to the aircraft. I'm putting on the first hatch for the rear opening. back to the blades. First of all, I took some Tamiya's 6mm masking tape and put it on the edge of the blade and wrapped it around for the tip. Then I painted it in Revel Aquacolor or 8 matte black up to the tape. Now it's an idea to paint on the tape and downwards so you're not breaking the seal if you haven't varnished it or sealed it too so it doesn't paint bleed. And it's back to the main part of the kit, the body, and I'm putting on the ramp now. And you can put this on before you put the landing gear in, and again it fits nicely. This is where you would have a problem if the two halves of the fuselage weren't joined together and didn't line up properly. And once that was all in, time to put in the landing gear struts, and these were painted in Revel Aquacolor 76 light grey, as well as the recess it sits in as well. Same again for the front struts and landing gear. The front gun's going in now. I painted these in Tamiya's X10 gunmetal, but you don't have to put them in now. I was just putting them in for fit. And while that was all drying, I painted in the rest of the blade. Now to paint the main colour, and first of all I'm just painting around the windows carefully, and the main exterior colour is Revel Aquacolor 361 olive green. So as then just paint it around the windows with a small brush before I go into a larger brush to paint it all. Starting with the canopy side first, making sure that none of the tape is lifted up, and then finishing up on the bottom. Attaching the blades to the mechanism now, just two simple little points that go into a half bar really, and then just clamping it up to hold. Moving on to the wheels, popping them onto the struts, two little holes and a little bit of glue to put them in. Now you can't have them use free wheeling or they'll just pop off, unfortunately. Once the blades are bonded, it's time to paint, so I'm painting the central part in Tamiya's X10 gunmetal. So the paint's dry, it's time to take off the tape from the canopy. So I'll just lift it up with my tweezers and gently pulling it off. If you do have any paint bleed, just take a cocktail stick and gently rub away, and it should come off quite easily. So it's time to take off the tape off the blades, just to look out for any paint bleeds. I had a tiny amount, not worth mentioning at all. Everything's on now apart from the blades, so it's time to give it a coat of clear. That's Pledge Clear Polish. Just put an even coat on this and make sure it's all over the canopy and the windows. So it's a little bit time to do a little bit of weathering. So I'm using Tamiya's Master Series D, and I'm using the burnt red and burnt orange for the exhaust ports. And then once that's done, I'll concentrate on the blades and get them ready to put on. Then also be putting on the decals. Well, just a few more decals to put on, and then I will be putting another coat of clear over it. So I'm going to bring this build to a close. This was a really good build. I recommend it for beginner and experienced alike. Whatever your level of experience, I think you would get a lot of enjoyment out of this kit. It goes together really well. If you get a chance, why don't you check out my other videos on the channel, and feel free to leave any comments you like. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.